Okay, Mr. Secretary General, thank you for being with us with TVR. And I will jump in the first question because we have a limited time. Last year we marked a decade since Romania was invited to join the alliance, and in 2014 we will have the anniversary of a decade of NATO membership. How do you define the role and the strategic profile of Romania within NATO?
Romania plays a crucial role within NATO. Romania is really a staunch ally. Romania contributes in a significant way to NATO operations, notably in Afghanistan, but also in Kosovo. Furthermore, Romania is very active in a number of multilateral projects, transport, aircrafts, a drone project, our AWACS plane project, and last but not least, Romania has offered to host a missile defense facility.
Let me ask you about this, because Romania's role in NATO's missile defense system is considered important for allied security. But in Romania, for Romania itself, do you think that this will bring a net advantage or not? Given the fact that there are some political statements outside Romania that are suggesting that Romania could be perceived as a target.
There's no doubt that the missile defense system will be to the benefit of Romania as well as to the benefit of all NATO allies. Our intention is to gradually build up this missile defense system to protect populations in European NATO countries, and we are very grateful for the Romanian offer to host one of the facilities that will make this system efficient.
Okay, but do you think that we have to consider those statements outside Romania that are thinking that Romania could be a target?
We have clearly stated that our system is purely defensive. It's not directed against anyone. It's not directed against any country. It's directed against a potential threat. It's our obligation to ensure effective protection of our populations. We do that in a defensive manner, so no one should be offended by our missile defense system.
Okay, how is Allied solidarity reflected in the field of cyber defense? What could a country like Romania, with a good reputation in cyber talent, in the terms of cyber talent, do to articulate its role in the cyber defense?
I have discussed cybersecurity with the political leaders today, and we agree that NATO should play a role when it comes to cyber defense. Our obligation is collective defense of our populations and our societies, and in today's world, cyber attacks can cause a lot of damage to any society. And I think Romania can play an important role politically by pushing for progress in NATO cybersecurity, and also when it comes to concrete cyber capability, because we do know that there is a lot of cyber expertise in Romania.
Secretary General, you have stressed several times the importance of investing in critical capability, preferably in the spirit of smart defense. Do you consider that Romania's acquisition plans regarding fighter planes is sound in the spirit of NATO priorities, or you consider that it's a luxury thing?
No, I really commend the Romanian government for taking the decision to modernize the Air Force. And I have discussed today with the ministers how Romania could possibly cooperate with other countries when it comes to the maintenance of such aircraft, logistics, training and education of pilots, etc. All these things are very expensive. But if you cooperate, if you help each other, if countries with F-16s help each other, then you can reduce the costs. So that's smart defense because it's a smarter way of spending money, and I think Romania could achieve such savings through cooperation with other countries.
Another important issue nowadays in Europe is energy security. This week Bucharest hosted the Nabucco political committee. An important decision will be taken this summer, probably before this summer, regarding the southern corridor. Is there any place for an enhanced NATO profile in this field?
I think the primary task for NATO is to protect critical infrastructure. Energy security is of course much broader than that. Energy security is about a diversified supply of energy, so that you don't get too dependent on one supplier of energy, and that's much more, I think, much more an EU effort. And that's why close cooperation between NATO and the EU is of utmost importance. I think when it comes to the NATO, our main task would be the protection of critical infrastructure.
So nothing especially for the energy security, just for the infrastructure?
Of course, we will also raise energy security issues when we have dialogue with our partners. We do have partners in Middle East, North Africa, in Central Asia, in South Caucasus, and many of these partners play a crucial role when it comes to the supply of energy, and of course we can raise energy security issues in our dialogue with those partners. But I think a defense alliance as NATO should focus on the protection of critical infrastructure, but nowadays that's actually also a very important task, taking into account the risk of terrorist attacks, for instance.
What are your evaluations on the transition process in Afghanistan and the prospects of evolution for post-2014? What could be Romania's contribution in Afghanistan in this matter?
First of all, let me express my very strong appreciation for Romania's substantial contribution to our mission in Afghanistan. I really pay tribute to Romanian armed forces, pay tribute to their service and sacrifice. You can be proud of your troops. They have really made a difference in Afghanistan. And based on that, I have also discussed with the government and the President today the future NATO operation in Afghanistan after 2014, and the government and the President promised that Romania will contribute to our training mission after 2014. As you know, our combat mission is completed by the end of 2014, then we will establish a training mission, and I hope to see Romania contribute to that training mission.
So it needs a follow-up question, this answer, because we could ask, what are NATO's plans with regard to the transportation of the huge amount of military equipment which allies have deployed in Afghanistan? After the significant downsizing of its presence in Afghanistan, do you think that NATO will be operationally relevant in the area?
Absolutely. I mean, first, the very concrete task to redeploy will be solved, of course. As we draw down in Afghanistan, we will step up joint exercises, training, education, to maintain and further develop the ability we have got to work and operate together. In Afghanistan, armed forces from 50 countries have learned how to work and operate together. That's a very valuable thing, and we want to maintain that ability, and to achieve that, we will conduct more exercises, more joint training and education.
So the last question, well, it's not regarding Romania, but could be if you look at this in a different perspective. The defense spending of USA are almost double than those of the other countries, the rest of the allies taken together. Also in the last years, the United States shifted their focus on foreign policy on the Asia-Pacific area. In this context, how do you see the evolution of the transatlantic link?
First of all, I would like to stress that it's also in Europe's interest that the United States focus on the Asia-Pacific region, taking into account rising powers in that region. Right. Next, I don't think that rebalancing of the United States military engagement will take place at the expense of the transatlantic relationship. But of course, in that respect, it's very important that the Europeans demonstrate a clear commitment to the transatlantic alliance and also pay their fair share of the bill. And it is a matter of concern that we have seen an increasing gap across the Atlantic. The United States pay more and more a bigger part of the common bill for our common security, and the Americans start to ask, why is it that we have to pay so much? Why couldn't the Europeans pay a bit more for our common security? So my answer is that it's very much up to the Europeans themselves to ensure that the American pivot to Asia, as is being called, doesn't take place at the expense of the transatlantic relationship. It's our obligation to invest politically, financially, and militarily in our transatlantic alliance.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Secretary General. That was the interview of today. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.